incredibly critical time in the U.S.-Israel relationship. I want to try to go through a few things in the 5 minutes I have. Do you agree with me that Iran is an existential threat to the state of Israel?
Yes, I do, Senator.
And do you agree with me that their nuclear program, where their enrichment is beyond any commercial grade purpose, if continued, is an existential threat to the state of Israel?
I have believed that the enrichment of uranium in Iran is a threat to Israel and the world, and that was why I supported the JCPOA, because it's created a bigger wall of time. I think we're closer to that now because since the JCPOA has been ended in terms of our participation, they've enriched more.
You're aware that there are many efforts to delegitimize the state of Israel, particularly at the United Nations. In 2016, the Obama administration, to my disappointment, which I expressed at the time, failed to veto a resolution that did, from my perspective, exactly that, an attempt to delegitimize the state of Israel at the United Nations. If you were to be confirmed under these present circumstances and assuming that it was such a resolution, would you recommend the President veto similar resolutions that signal out Israel, delegitimize its actions of self-defense, and play down the role of Hamas and other organizations that undermine the prospects for peace?
Senator, I believe deeply that the UN needs to be fair and not condemn Israel and ignore the actions of terrorist organizations like Hamas. I do not believe it's right for the UN to adopt resolutions that single Israel out, and I have always believed that the UN needs to be more even-handed. I can't comment on a hypothetical resolution. I would only note that when that decision was made, it was made by President Obama after a very, very much worse resolution had been substantially modified. And that was the
A worse resolution doesn't make a bad resolution any better.
I understand that, but there's always a dynamic in the United Nations.
The point is that at the UN, Israel is constantly vilified. It is constantly made the central focus when other countries in the world who have significant human rights violations go untouched. And so you're not going to be at the UN, but you are going to be part of a national security team as the ambassador to Israel that is going to have input in an administration. And so I'm trying to understand where you'll come from at that
point. Well, I can say that if I'm confirmed to be ambassador to Israel, I will have a single focus on how I approach these questions that is different from the focus that you have in other roles. I will be an advocate for doing the things the United States should do to protect Israel, including at the UN.
Thank you. Let me ask you, what do you see your role, if confirmed, as it relates to the challenges of the Palestinian people? Hamas is a terrorist organization. They're barbaric. There's no question about that. And Israel must do what is necessary to wipe them off the face of the earth. Having said that, the Palestinian people in and of themselves are not Hamas. So what do you see your role as the U.S. ambassador as it relates to finding a better future for them?
Senator, as I said in my opening remarks, I am keeping focused not just on today, but on where we go after the conflict, war ends. And I think we have to be back in a place where questions are being asked about how do you have a sustainable peace? How do you have security for Israeli and Palestinian citizens? My heart goes out to innocent civilians who are injured, whether it was the gruesome atrocities on that Saturday, or innocent civilians who are living in areas where Hamas is hiding and they get killed because of collateral damage. This has to end, but it has to end with Israel's security being guaranteed. And it's a very difficult moment to remember that we're going to get beyond this current state of affairs. And hopefully, coming out of this, there will be some more willingness and parties able to have conversations about building a better future. We need to worry about refugees. I've been heartened by some of the progress I've read about in the last 24 hours on humanitarian corridors, on getting food and water to people. I think Hamas is using Palestinian citizens to make their cause public, but they're hurting those people.
Thank you for your responses.
Senator Rubio.
Thank you for